Alright, recording a YouTube intro is so weird when you don't have like an audience. Hi everyone, I'm Tori. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm sorry if I look at the camera, if I look at myself, if I look any which way, because I'm recording on my phone. I'm not entirely sure how dedicated I will be to this project, so I decided I'm not gonna buy any new equipment. I feel like what better way to get to know me than talk about some of the crazy aesthetic choices I've made throughout the years and my style today. I'm not a traditionally artistic person. I have friends who are photographers, musicians, drag queens, even my younger brother is in art school, and I don't possess those talents, so I really express myself through how I dress. And I also feel like I found a lot of self-confidence through how I dressed myself. I know that might sound strange to find confidence if you're focusing on how you look, but it is what it is. Sometimes you fake it till you make it. I wrote everything down in here, so let's get into it. When I think of my personal style, I always think of it as, okay, if I was a cartoon character, what would I be drawn in? I think I would be drawn with like white graphic tee and a printed midi skirt. Probably some cat eye sunglasses with, you know, Vans skate highs or loafers, and probably an oversized leather blazer. I feel like the obvious place to start when you're finding your personal style is just looking through your closet. Look at the clothes you rotate through the most, that you wear the most often. You can tell what you wear the most based on, you know, what you wash a lot in your laundry, what you see yourself photographed most in. I feel like that's really important. You know, social media is such a huge thing, so I feel like look at your Instagram, look at your archives, like what are you always wearing on the gram? Then I feel like you'll have a better sense of your own essentials. So you've already gone through your closet, and now, you know, before you go shopping online or you go thrifting, I think it's really important to hone in on who your fashion inspirations are. I have a really healthy relationship with social media sites like Instagram and Twitter. I only really follow people who I find inspirational on different levels. So I would recommend, you know, if you feel like it's a little toxic, maybe don't go through your Instagram feed, but I like to go through my own Instagram feed for inspiration. I look at, you know, actresses, models, and artists I love, and like I love their style. I also look a lot at television and movie characters a lot, because you can definitely tell like what I listen to and what I'm watching based on what I'm wearing. I saw a TikTok, I wish I could find it, it's probably buried in my likes, but it was like when you leave the movie theater with a new personality. When I first started really getting into my personal style and trying to define that, I loved Miley Cyrus. This was like in 2012 when her street style photos were like truly chef's kiss. You know, I bought multiple like American Apparel tops and sweaters because she had the same one. I bought like a rose gold watch because she had one. This was also during the time where I really loved the Hunger Games book series, and the movie had like just come out, and you know, I was obsessed with cargo jackets and leather boots. People I remember I loved during this time were Alexa Chung. I also still love Alexa Chung. I feel like it's very obvious.
This t-shirt is literally from her clothing brand.
It wasn't just inspiration, I was like, this is the blueprint I have to follow.
I'll always have an affinity towards stripes, quality denim, graphic tees, black boots, and cheetah print because of them.
Throughout quarantine, I really loved the show High Fidelity with Zoe Kravitz, and I really loved the way her character Rob dressed throughout that series. Later, I was reading articles and the costume designer was like, actually, most of the clothes were Zoe's own pieces.
And here's a cringy TikTok from the beginning of quarantine. Your fashion inspirations don't have to and shouldn't be a checklist of things that you need to buy next. They can also be great reference points on how to style things you already own. After High Fidelity, I saw all my clothes in a whole new light, and I really loved the way I styled these pieces.
I would say my inspirations just stack on top of each other, but I also really love Charli XCX and Dua Lipa. Not only do I love their music, but I really do love their style, and so I would channel them a lot when I would go out to concerts. Remember concerts? I used to have these pants and I called them my pop princess pants because they reminded me of something that Dua or Charlie would wear, and I always felt really powerful in them. And I feel like that's something really important too when you're looking for inspiration. Not only find people who are beautiful to you, but also when you look at them, you're like, I want to feel how they're feeling. I want to feel confident and powerful, and I want to feel like a pop star. The next thing is you have to get real about your lifestyle. What's your job? Where do you live? Like, what does your day-to-day look like? We always tend to compare ourselves to people that we do see on the internet, but you have to be honest with yourself. Like, all these people who have these crazy closets who are always impeccably on trend, this is most likely their job. I think it's really important to just keep that perspective in mind. When I was starting to find my style, I would say in like 2014, 2015 is also when a lot of people really did start to dress for Instagram, and I felt immense pressure to be constantly trendy. In my mind, I think of this era as the girl boss era, in the sense that this is when Nasty Gal was popping off. Unif clothing and Oh Mighty, Oh Weekend were really like taking off on the internet. I felt the pressure to wear all these different colors, all these different prints. I was like, oh, I need to experiment with neoprene, which was like a huge trend back then. It was like the time when everyone would wear marble printed stuff and like the plastic hologram bags. Even though I look back on these pictures and I'm like, oh my god, she was so cute. Like, if I ran into this girl at the mall, I would like walk the other way because she's probably way too cool. I'm like, that is so sad that I felt this pressure to keep shopping and to keep consuming in order to feel valid, and you really don't need to. I also think this applies a lot to thrifting as well. I feel like we all kind of have accepted that shopping fast fashion is not good, but also you can still be over consuming if you go to the thrift every weekend for things you don't really need. Next tip I have for you is to not look at brands, logos, and sizing as something super important when you're shopping. I have really huge feet, so I don't really fit into a lot of women's shoes, which really sucks because when I was younger, it was like, you know, if you wanted the coolest new shoe, like everyone could just get it at Forever 21, but for me, I could never partake. I remember specifically it was like the soft grunge phase. I desperately wanted to have a pair of Jeffrey Campbellitas. I wanted to be the girl that was wearing the American Apparel skirt and like the jelly shoes, but I could never wear any of those things.
Alright, hi, editing Tori here. So I don't think I really made myself clear, but essentially what I'm saying is don't let name brands stop you from dressing how you want to dress. When I was younger, I thought if I wanted to be soft grunge, pastel goth, whatever, I had to buy certain name brand things. But in reality, I could have just found similar pieces that were made in my size and wear them how I wanted to. Back then, I was just so obsessed with name brands, and I think that hinders your creativity in general. So don't let sizes, don't let labels, don't let name brands stop you from dressing how you want to dress.
Even today, there are so many Instagram boutiques that I would love to support because, you know, they kind of were like the epicenter of certain trends, but I can't because the largest size they make is a size 8.
And what did I do? I bought the dupes. I also really love these dresses because at the time I was obsessed with space and sci-fi, and I think you can really tell.
By being more realistic with what you wear and being less obsessed with the brands you're buying, I feel like it also becomes easier to translate trends into your own style. There was this part in life when the 70s aesthetic was super huge. Everyone was wearing all these lace-up tops, you know, like the circle Ray-Ban sunglasses, suede skirts, handkerchiefs and chokers tied around your neck. Like, that was such a big moment. I loved that aesthetic because I loved, you know, movies like Almost Famous, and I always just thought like that anyone could pull off that aesthetic and like anyone could wear that. Back then I was like, okay, I live in California. I was gonna go to like a new college. Hey, what could I wear like to a party, but also to class, but also in my everyday life and still feel like I was emulating this trend? And I was like, okay, well, sunglasses are necessary because hello, California. Second, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna incorporate more suede pieces into my wardrobe. For me, that meant like buying a really cool suede jacket. You have to identify like 4 or 5 things that you wear all the time that if you bought them, they would make sense with your wardrobe and with the trend that you're trying to incorporate. So I always think that's more fun because I never want to feel like my clothes are wearing me. I always want to feel like my most authentic self in them. Yes, sometimes when I wear clothes, I am like putting on a character if I'm going out, or like when I would go to a show, I was like always dressing for the music I was about to listen to. But for the most part, I'm like, what feels good to me? Like a lot of people don't really subscribe to like, you know, the Vogues, the GQs of the world. And you know, we're looking at social media, we're looking at what everyone else is talking about. You want to be in on a trend, or you want to try and like flex your trend forecasting skills, it would be really important to look at what media is really taking over public consciousness. And my biggest example for this is Stranger Things. I remember in 2016 when like Stranger Things like first hit Netflix, everyone was obsessed with this show, and for good reason. I'm still obsessed with this show. If I log on to Netflix, Steve is my icon, so I feel like that says a lot. But ever since 2016, we've been seeing a lot of like 80s inspiration in trends. Louis Vuitton did a whole women's wear show featuring a actual Stranger Things t-shirt. I remember at the same time, opening ceremony had done a collaboration with Sid Mead, who did all the set design for Blade Runner. I also remember because of Stranger Things, like everyone wanted to wear members only bomber jackets, and for the longest time I was like, my grandpa wears that. Like, why are we dressing like grandpas now? Everyone started wearing Nike Cortezes.
And actually, ahead of the release of season 3, Stranger Things and Nike came out with a collaboration.
Try and find those pieces of media that really take over. I remember one fail of mine, I'm gonna be honest, was when I really thought like Suicide Squad was gonna take over, because this was the time when everyone was already wearing silk bomber jackets, and I was like, oh, every girl's gonna dress like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Like, that's for sure gonna happen. And then it didn't. But you know what? I don't regret this look at all. I feel like it still allowed me to like kind of blend things I loved, which at the time were comic books and comic book movies, with the way I was dressing. So I have no complaints. But if anyone asks what inspired this look, I'm not gonna say Suicide Squad, you know, whereas a lot of people would say, oh yeah, like Stranger Things was dope, that's why I'm dressing like I'm from the 80s. I don't really know what's trending right now, what's going to be trending, because I do feel like with the way the world has kind of stopped this year, we don't really know what's gonna happen with fashion. But if you'd like another video on that, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know what else to say. I'm at a loss for words. I'm kind of tired of hearing my own voice, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and a thumbs up, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.